Hello everyone, welcome back to My Stitch with Me's. This is number 2. We're going to be working on the stamped cross stitch pattern Zen again this time. In the future I do have plans for another cross stitch. We'll talk about that a little bit later though, because this stitch with me is going to be quite a long one. So first of all I want to tell you about my new laptop. I am filming things a little bit differently now that I've got the new laptop, just because this new laptop enables me to do it a bit differently, and I actually prefer it this way. So what I'm doing at the minute is doing a voiceover, and I am able to connect my camera straight to my laptop and also film longer videos, because the reason why most of my videos have been quite short so far is because the laptop that I used struggled to upload such big files. So I'm hoping that the audio recording is going to go okay and it's going to sound a little bit better than it did before. So this Saturday I need to film what will basically be my last weekly progress update for my cross stitch patterns before Christmas. So I think I have an idea in mind to do a whip parade. I have noticed quite an uptick of subscribers on the YouTube channel, so I think it's a good idea to do a whip parade at the end of the year, even though I only started, I think it was 3 months ago in September that I started the channel. But for the newer subscribers that haven't watched the first video, and to be fair, the first video wasn't that great. I was very nervous. The sound quality is not great, the camera angle wasn't the best, so now I'm a bit more comfortable. I feel like it would be a good idea to just go through all of my current whips. I don't think I'll do my stash patterns, like my stash of patterns, because I did that not too long ago, and that's going to change all the time, so I don't think that's going to really be important. But with this new laptop, it just means that I'm going to be able to go through all of the whips and explain to you what the fabric counts are, you know, who the artist is, and take my time a bit more. Now I've got a better laptop that can support the longer videos, so I am really excited about that. That will be out on Monday as normal for you guys, but I will film it on the Saturday, and then after that it will be a break for Christmas, and then I don't know when I want to come back, because I don't celebrate New Year particularly, so I probably will be back after, probably start recording again after Boxing Day. I'm not actually sure what day. Let me see if I can check right now. So Christmas is on a Monday, so that means I can film as normal pretty much, other than next week, just having next week off, I can go back to normal. So that won't be too bad actually, because Saturday and Sunday will be New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and as I said, I don't celebrate them, so I'm not worried about filming and stuff like that on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So today I went to pick my son's glasses up. He'd only had his pair for a month before he broke them, so we had to go and get a replacement pair, and this time I actually bought a second pair, like a spare pair for him. So obviously he gets his glasses on the NHS, but I decided to pay for a second pair because he breaks them so easily that it's just not worth the hassle constantly going back up there. I also had a hospital appointment yesterday with my other son, my middle son Kane, he's 15, about his legs. So he has a bit of a problem with the growth on his legs. One leg is longer than the other and it hurts his hips when he walks. So we've been going backwards and forwards to the doctors and the hospital for a couple of months now, and yesterday they said that they can offer him an operation, but he doesn't want to do it. I don't know if he doesn't want to do it right now and maybe wants to do it later, but at the minute they've given him insoles for the shorter leg. but they have offered to give him an operation if he wants to, but they will operate on the longer leg, not the shorter one, because I always thought they broke the bone on the shorter leg and then let it grow. So like let it grow naturally, and it kind of grows longer, if that makes sense. But they actually said they would shorten the longer leg, so he's not too impressed about having that done, which I don't blame him. So at the minute we're just going to get an insole for him. Christmas, I am sort of done. I've done the presents. I just need to do the food, which I think we're going to be doing this weekend. So I've been putting it off for quite a while because I just don't have the storage in this house. We've lived here for, I want to say, about 3 years now. I think this is my 3rd Christmas here, perhaps, or 4th. No, I'm pretty sure it's my 3rd. And the kitchen in this house is tiny compared to my old house. I used to have a huge kitchen in my old house with a giant pantry, and the kitchen was large enough to put a dining table in there. It was bigger than the living room, the old kitchen, so we had tons and tons of space. But coming from a massive kitchen to a small kitchen was really, really difficult for me, and I think it's the only room in the house that I don't like. I love this house that I'm in now. It's taken a lot of work to get it where it is currently, and it still needs loads of work, but the kitchen I'm actually really embarrassed about when people come over. I just don't like it. It's one of them really skinny, and it's not even long. I was going to say skinny and long, but it's not even a long kitchen. I literally only have one top cupboard, so I have nowhere to put anything. I don't have a pantry. The only thing I have is the fridge and a small cupboard that I added in this little corner bit of the kitchen where I put my microwave, and that's got all of our random snacks that we have during the week. So it's difficult, so I just haven't bothered with the food just yet. So for Christmas I've got my daughter here. She doesn't live with me, so she's coming over, and I've got my dad here. I've also got my partner's brother and his girlfriend coming here. So we're going to stay in the house and just have a nice family time. I am kind of looking forward to Christmas just because I feel like this year I haven't really got very excited about it because last year was so bad for us. I think I'm trying not to get excited over it. I mean, I didn't even put my decorations up this year. My daughter did it for me while I was away for the weekend one week, but she put them up quite early, which didn't bother me. It's just I haven't felt in the Christmassy mood. Typically I will put Christmas songs on and we'll watch Christmas films and all that type of stuff, make Christmas cakes and cookies and things like that. But this year I've done absolutely none of it. Me and my youngest son, so far the only thing we've done is watch one Christmas movie, which was the newer version of The Grinch, the animated version. That's literally it. So when he breaks up for school tomorrow, I'm gonna make a point, I think, of doing some Christmassy things with him. My other son, Kane, won't split up until next Wednesday, but he's 15, so he's at an age where he's not really wanting to sit with me and watch Christmas films and all that type of stuff. I mean, he might watch something like Die Hard. We always class Die Hard as a Christmas film in our house because it's Die Hard 1 is what we class as a Christmas film. So he might watch that, but he won't watch anything like The Grinch or Polar Express, anything like that. He's not interested in it. So yeah, I am looking forward to it in a way, but I don't want to get excited about it and then be disappointed when it isn't a good day. But I think it will be. I mean, Christmas is what you make of it. And the most important thing is that I'm going to have my daughter here because she wasn't here last year. That's why it was so rubbish for me. So it will be nice to see her. Is there anyone else that's watching this that records videos and has a family? I don't know if anyone will be able to relate to this, but every single time I say to the children, right, I'm going to go off and record now, or I'm going to do a bit of audio, etc, etc, I'll go out of the way, so I'll make sure that I'm not where they can be heard, and they always end up where I am. So I'll move out of the way and then they'll turn up, or they'll go and play on their games. Like when I started recording this, I went up to my bedroom. I said to my youngest son, he was downstairs watching telly, so I said, right, I'm just going to go and record some audio for a video. You know where I am if you need me. And he was like, yeah, okay. And he's come upstairs to play on his games, and he's screaming and shouting and running around his bedroom, which is right next to mine. And I'm just thinking, oh my God. So now I'm downstairs, and I guarantee you that he will come down at some point. When he realises that I'm not in that room next to him, he will come down. Oh, I don't know. So let's talk about the new cross-stitch plans for the Stitch With Me videos. So in my head, I have a plan. In my head, I have a plan of starting a new cross-stitch pattern from the beginning, like brand new, and only stitching on that when I do these Stitch With Me's. Now, I don't know if I want to do them once a week, once a fortnight, or once a month. I'm kind of leaning towards the once a fortnight, just because if I do it every week, I think I will run out of things to say. I mean, I stitch every single night, so it's not the stitching that's a problem, it's the talking. What I could do is I could do time-lapse videos, or I could do Stitch With Me's with just music and no talking, but sometimes I don't think they're really going to be beneficial, because most people that watch Stitch With Me's are not actually watching the screen. You're more likely to be listening to me than you are watching me, so I don't think they'll be beneficial at all, really. So I think I'm more leaning towards once a fortnight currently, just because then that will give us something to talk about, and I won't have to do a shorter video. I could do longer ones, because I think a good time for a Stitch With Me is between 30 minutes to an hour, and if I can definitely stitch for that, that's no problem. But if I can find stuff to talk about for half an hour to an hour every 2 weeks, I think that'll be spot on. So at the minute, we're going to carry on with Zen, and then we are going to start this new pattern. Now, this new pattern is one that I have made myself. It is, I don't know if it has a name. Basically, I'll tell you from the start. So there's a new video game coming out in 2024, and it's supposed to be Tomb Raider remastered. So if you've ever played video games before, the original Tomb Raider games are being remastered for the newer consoles. Now, I absolutely love Tomb Raider. That was the first game, actually, that I ever played on my PlayStation 2. No, sorry, not my PlayStation 2, my PlayStation 1. So when I first got my PlayStation 1, I begged my parents, well, my mum, because my parents have been split up since I was 4, but I begged my mum to get me a PlayStation, and she didn't get one for about 3 years. So when I did get it, the game that came with it was Tomb Raider 4, which is where she is in the Egyptian tombs, I want to say, if I can remember rightly. So I played Tomb Raider from 4, and then went back and bought 1, 2 and 3. And anyway, I absolutely loved Tomb Raider 4. I thought it was amazing. There was Croft Manor, where you could do like your training and your practicing, where you could shove the butler in the freezer. It was brilliant, and I remember playing it with my sisters, and they got obsessed with Tomb Raider as well. 2 of them did. My older sister's not interested in video games. She never has been, but the 2 younger ones that used to look up to me would watch me playing it, and then they grew to love it as well. Especially the youngest sister. She has actually got my PlayStation 2 at her house, because I've still got a PlayStation 2 with loads and loads of old games, and she took it off me probably about 2 years ago now, 2 or 3 years ago. When I moved in here, I think she took it, and I think she bought some of the Tomb Raider games, but I know I already had some of them. But anyway, when she's not at work, she goes and sits in her house and plays Tomb Raider, and she's been redoing them all to like 100%. She's been trying to get all of the relics, doing all of the secrets and all of that type of thing. So I don't actually know if she is aware that there's a new Tomb Raider game coming out next year, the remastered version, but she is a bigger fan of Tomb Raider than what I am. So if she's not aware, then she will be in for a big surprise, because I'm very excited about it, and I mean, I'm not that big of a Tomb Raider buff compared to her. So I found out that this Tomb Raider was being remastered about 2 months ago now. And since then, I was like, oh my god, absolutely got to do a cross-stitch pattern of Tomb Raider. So I went on Etsy, tried to have a look if there was any decent, Tomb Raider charts on there. Cannot find anything on there. So I was like, right, okay, this means I'm going to have to chart my own, which is not a problem for me, because if you don't know, I run an Etsy shop and I sell cross-stitch patterns of my own artwork and my daughter's artwork. So charting a cross-stitch pattern is not an issue for me. So I was like, right, okay, I will find an image that I like and I will chart it myself, and it will be this giant full coverage thing. So I was looking for art for Tomb Raider for ages and ages. I found a couple that I liked, but I also wanted to ask the artist's permission. So I tried to contact a couple of them. I didn't hear back from them. And then I thought, you know what, maybe I should just do some cover art of one of the video games that I like. So I had a look at the cover art for the video games. The older video games, I'm not too keen on the cover art, unless I wanted to do it very original, pixelated, where she looks very like a square, because of the old video game she's very square and triangle, and she's got these giant triangle boobs. So unless I wanted to have a picture like that, that wasn't really what I was going for in my head. I kind of wanted just an artist's vision of Tomb Raider. So actually, last week? I think it was last week, I happened to find this person on Twitter, of all places. And I didn't actually find it through Twitter. I ended up finding it through Google, but Google led me to Twitter. And I found the guy's email address and emailed him about this image that I found. I wasn't expecting a yes, because everybody else that I'd asked already had just not replied to me. So I didn't think much of it. I sent him an image from... it was his image, obviously. He done Tomb Raider 3 with the dinosaurs, and it came up on his Twitter post, and he said something about, this is my most favourite Tomb Raider picture that I've done. Now, he did do a Tomb Raider 4 picture of her in the Egyptian desert, and I was so tempted to ask him for permission to do that one. But I don't think I would like to stitch all of that yellow and brown. I think with the picture that I chose to ask permission for, I would enjoy it a lot more. There's a lot of greenery. There's 2 dinosaurs in the image. There's obviously Lara Croft dead center in the middle. There is a bit of a background with different colours. The Egyptian one that I saw was very brown, very orange, very yellow, with Lara in the middle, but her whole face and everything was covered with, what are they called? It was like a thing that cut, like a scarf that covered her face from the sand. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of them, but if I'd have sat and stitched that for weeks and months and possibly years, I would be sick of it. So I thought, I'll ask about the third one and see what he says. Didn't think anything of it, didn't think he'd say yes. The same day I emailed him, within a couple of hours, he got back to me and said, yes, absolutely, just make sure that you tag me. So I was like, oh my god, this is brilliant. So I tried to find out his socials other than Twitter. I can't find anything. His name is David Alejandro. If anybody can find him anywhere else other than Twitter, and I think he is on DeviantArt, but for some reason my phone does not like to load DeviantArt, and I don't think I can really tag him on there. So it's more of a place where he would advertise his own art. So I would like to find somewhere. If not, I mean, I'm just going to have to open up a Twitter account and just post there for him, because I promised I would do it. I said the chart's for personal use, which it will be. Once I've finished with the chart, I will be deleting it off my phone and my tablets and everything. I'm not going to resell it. So as soon as he said yes, the next day I got to charting this image. I can't actually remember how big it is. Maybe I can find it quickly for you. Okay, so I found the PDF. It's just going to take a minute to load. Now I know there is a lot of colours. Right, so it says 163 colours, and the chart will be 600 by 750 stitches. So it's going to be 600 wide by 750 stitches long, and it's going to have 163 colours. Now I charted that myself, so I'm happy with all of that. I went backwards and forwards a couple of times trying to shorten the size of the chart. At first it was like 750 wide, and I shortened it and shortened it and shortened it and shortened it down to something like 450, and it didn't look right. So then I kept making it bigger and bigger and bigger until I got happier with the rendering, and it just happened to be that it was at size 600 that was the best rendering for me. So I mean, I've got myself to blame that I've got to do such a big pattern, but it will be so worth it when it's done. So worth it. So the plan with getting this cross stitch pattern kitted up and everything, because it's 160 colours and it's Christmas time, I am going to be doing a bit at a time. So I've ordered the first 20 colours, I think, or 15 colours, because I needed some more floss for my Lord of the Rings pattern anyway. So I thought, okay, if I order, say, 10 to 20 colours per week, that's how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to kit them up when they get here, so the 163 colours won't be so overwhelming for me when I actually, like when I've got everything here. I don't want to wait, because I did that with Lord of the Rings. I actually bought the floss for that over time, and I learnt from my mistakes before by waiting to kit it all up in one go. That thing must have took me about 3 or 4 days to kit up. It was so many colours, and it was so overwhelming. And I think this one's even more. I think Lord of the Rings is 160 or 150, and this one's 163. So the plan is to buy 10 to 20 flosses every week, and then when it's all done, I will then buy the fabric, and then we will set it up for Stitch With Me. So until then, until I've ordered everything, I mean, if after Christmas I see I've got a bit more extra money, I will order more than 10 or 20 at once. It's just at the minute, with money being so tight because of Christmas and all the other purchases that I've made up until this point, I don't think it's going to be a very good idea to go out and purchase 163 colours at once. And then I need to find some fabric that's going to be big enough, because ideally I would like to stitch it in 25 count. My sweet spot for stitching is 25 count, 2 strands, half stitch. You'll notice that if you watch my whip parades, because I'm terrible at not telling everybody what I'm stitching on, but most of my kits are 25 count, 2 strands, half stitch. So that's definitely my comfortable space for where I stitch, and that means I don't actually know how big that's going to be. Let me see if it's on here. No, I think I've already moved it now. I was going to see how big it would be. 600 stitches. The Lord of the Rings that I've got is 999 stitches wide, and I've done that on 28 count, and that thing is huge on 28 count. So this Lord of the Rings is going to be massive unless I do it in a different count, which I kind of don't want to, because Lord of the Rings with its confetti has been an absolute nightmare for 2 strands. I really wish I'd have started 1 strand full cross, but 1 strand full cross or 2 strand full cross, whichever, if it's a full cross, to me it feels like I'm stitching twice, obviously because I'm so used to doing a half stitch. It takes me twice as long to do, say if I do 150 stitches compared to 300 stitches in half stitch. It feels like such a slog. This week I've been stitching on Pokemon, the Gen 1 Pokemon, and that thing is charted on 18 count, 2 strands, full cross. And last night I only did 137 stitches because it was full cross. Now if I'd have done that in half stitch, it would have been double that, and that would have made me feel like I was accomplishing something. I think in my head, if I do under 200 stitches a night, I feel like I'm so slow and so behind. So I think the hardest part of this chart is going to be finding the size fabric, because I don't know if I can find, well, I might be able to find it ungridded, but gridded fabric, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it that big for 600 stitches wide and 750 long. But I have thought about what I'm going to do with it afterwards once it's done, because that is going to be pretty big. I don't think I've got the wall space for it, so once it's done I think I might give it to my sister if she wants it, because she is a bigger Tomb Raider buff than me. If not, it will have to, I can't stitch on something like that and not hang it up somewhere, so it's going to have to go somewhere. Just means some of my diamond paintings are going to have to come off the wall. I am nervous about framing such big pictures though, because everyone I've seen on Facebook tells me that they spend £200 to £300 on a frame, which is absolutely crazy. So I would probably end up framing it myself, because that sort of money to me, I mean, a lot of them say that it's cost them £1 a week, so they put like £1 a week away and save that £1 a week away for the frame at the end. I can't do that because I've got so many whips going on that it would cost me, I don't know, about £15 a week if I was to do that. And I think it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money, so I think I will just end up framing it myself, or if I give it to my sister, she might be able to frame it. We'll see. But that is the plan. That's the plan. So when I've got all my stuff together, we will be starting Tomb Raider. I'm just going to call it Tomb Raider. There is no title name for this image as far as I'm aware. I'm going to keep trying to find somewhere that I can find this David Alejandro. I've checked Instagram. I could not find him there unless he's under another name, but I will continue to try and find somewhere so I know that I've got somewhere to tag him once I start. And yeah, that's going to be my plan. So speaking of video games, let's have a talk about what type of video games I like to play. So I unfortunately haven't played a game for quite a while now. The last game I played was Harry Potter Legacy. That was, I want to say March this year, sorry. I'm pretty sure it was March because I was playing it on Mother's Day, I believe. I really liked that game, but I never finished it. I found it quite repetitive. I was really excited to see Hogwarts on a better console, because if you've played Harry Potter games before, like on the PlayStation 1 and 2, the castle's not great. So to see it in a video game was absolutely amazing, and the detail that they put into that game was absolutely amazing. The fact that you could fly on a broom around the castle and everything was brilliant, but unfortunately it did get repetitive, so I never actually finished the story. I felt like I was just running backwards and forwards from one place to another, and it felt quite dull. So there was no, like, what's that word? Like background music. There was no ambience. There was no atmosphere to the game. So when you're traveling from one place to another, it's just dead silent, and I do not like that. I like to have some sort of music in the background, or hearing people talk as you're walking through a town and things like that. There was just nothing, and it really put me off playing it. And a lot of the side quests just felt like fetch quests, but to me that's not a problem, because a lot of the games I play are like that, but them ones really felt very similar. All of them felt the same every single time, so I did get bored of it. And the last game I played before that was probably Pokemon on the Switch, and Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PlayStation 5, I believe. I have barely played video games for the last 4 or 5 years. I used to be an absolute video game fanatic. Like, I used to love video games, and then I found cross-stitch and diamond painting. Video games for me kind of fell off, because that's what I would do at night time when the kids were in bed. I would wind down and play a game, but now I just don't have the time for them, unfortunately, and I haven't felt the need to play a game either. I mean, Harry Potter I did really try and get into. I really tried to play that game, but I just couldn't get into it. Pokemon I played and finished. I did really like that one. That was good, and I did play that at night time. So, but I'm also aware that when I play a game, my other hobbies aren't being done, and then I start feeling guilty because I've got hobbies that aren't, that I'm not working on. I still get like it now with cross stitch and diamond painting. If I diamond paint for too long, I feel bad. If I cross stitch for too long, I feel bad that I'm not diamond painting. I try not to do that, because they are hobbies and they are something that you're supposed to be enjoying. But when you like more than one hobby at a time, it can always feel like that you're just ignoring one of them or abandoning it. But my favourite video games, I'd have to say, are RPGs, so role-playing games. So I like Dragon Age, I like Fable, I like Skyrim. Fallout is my all-time favourite. I like things like the Harry Potter game, that was really good. What else is there? I do like games like Halo. Halo's really good. Gears of War was really good. Obviously Final Fantasy, I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. I'm trying to think what else there is. Obviously Tomb Raider. All them type of games I really, really enjoy. But Fallout is definitely my all-time favourite game. I haven't played the online only game that they'd done a couple of years ago. It was Fallout 76 or something it was called. That's the only one I refuse to play, because I don't like multiplayer games. I like to be in my own little world without other online people that I don't know, popping in and out of my game. I just want to be left alone. to do my own thing. Unless it's like a 2-player game where I'm playing with a friend in the same room, I prefer to be alone when I play. I do have fond memories of me and my sister though, my younger sister, the one that really likes Tomb Raider. She used to play Halo with me on when you could, because I don't think you can do it anymore, but when you could sit in the same room with each other and play online split screen on Halo, we would play that, and she's terrible. She used to shoot the ceiling when people were coming for her, but it was a brilliant memory for me of spending time with my sister and playing. So I really enjoyed them. I've played an awful lot of games, but I'm just trying to think what my favourite ones are. I do enjoy the Lego games of my children. They're quite fun to play. I've never been a Fortnite type of person or anything like that. I'm not that big on shooting games, except for things like Halo, where it's shooting and role-playing games. So speaking of Fallout, there's a new TV show coming out in April. I think it's April of 2024, and it looks absolutely amazing. I am so excited for that TV show. I don't remember when I was this excited before. I think I'm more excited for this than I was Game of Thrones. And I was really excited for Game of Thrones because I read the books and everything, and I was like, yes, this is going to be brilliant. I am really, really excited for Fallout 4. Not Fallout 4, I think it's just called Fallout. I think it's going to be all of them combined. I think they're taking ideas from all of the Fallout games combined and putting it into a TV show, but I'm not 100% sure, because a lot of the characters in the trailer have come from Fallout 4. Now, Fallout 4 is my favourite, but a lot of people don't like it, so I don't know how that's going to go. I'm not sure. Oh, also, there's a few other games that I like. God of War. Has anyone ever played God of War? That is an amazing game. Absolutely amazing game. And me and my younger son really like Five Nights at Freddy's. So, Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror game. And I've been a fan of it for absolutely years, but it's only since probably the last 3 or 4 months that my son's been interested in it, because it's before that he's been too young to understand what it is. So now he's at the age where he likes, the scary games. It's been absolutely brilliant rewatching all of them with him, because I showed him one of the games called Security Breach, which is the less scarier of all of the games. And he absolutely loved it, and then he wanted to know all of the lore and all of the story behind it all. So I was like in my prime. I was like, this is it. I have completely nerded out, told him absolutely everything, and he was just like a sponge. He just absorbed it all. And now me and him, whenever we say something, or if I see something and I say exotic butters, that's something from the game. I say it to him all the time, and he says it back, and people are just looking at us like, what the hell are they talking about? It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, my partner tries to understand it, because he's really supportive of everything that I do, and if I like something, he tries his best to understand it. But I think Five Nights at Freddy's, for him, he's just like, what is going on in this game? There is so much lore and so many theories thrown about that everybody has their own story on the game. So he's tried to watch, bless him, he's tried to watch no end of YouTube videos to understand it all, and he still doesn't understand it. But he took me to the cinema to watch the movie. Even if you don't know what it is, you probably saw the trailers for Five Nights at Freddy's in the cinema around Halloween time. We went for the first showing when it first came out in our local cinema, and all of the big fans of Five Nights at Freddy's were obviously there, because at certain points in the film everybody was excited, everyone was shouting, oh my god, and they were clapping. I love going to the cinema when there's people like that, because they really appreciate the movie, and at the end they all clapped, and I just thought it was brilliant. My partner was just sitting there like, what the heck? You're all nerds. But he is a nerd, but for things like Star Wars that I don't have a clue about, really. I'm not that clued up on Star Wars. I know the characters and I know the rough story of it, but he will read all the books and he knows all of the backstory and knows about things that isn't in the movies, whereas I know none of that. So we do have our own little hobbies, but we try and support each other. So whenever there's a Star Wars movie out or something that he wants to watch, I'll watch it with him or I'll listen to things, but I have no idea about any of it. But yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's is brilliant. If you haven't seen the movie, definitely go and watch it if you don't mind scary things. I have listened to the books as well because they have a few books out. Well, they have a lot of books out. I'm lying. And I bought my son one of the books while we was on holiday this September. I think he's read a bit of it, but I don't think he's that bothered about the books. They remind me of Goosebumps from when I was a kid, the Five Nights at Freddy's books, and I think that's what they're aimed to be like. I think that was the idea of them books, was to be short, scary stories like Goosebumps. And I used to absolutely love Goosebumps when I was a kid. So if Five Nights at Freddy's had been out when I was a child, it would have been something that I would have been like obsessed with. Well, I am now, but you know what I mean. So yeah. What else can we talk about? So I've been doing the vlog, the Christmas vlog. I have probably about 2 hours worth of footage for that vlog. I'm aiming to get that up for Christmas Day, so that means that I'm going to need to stop recording probably the day before Christmas Eve, so it has time to be edited and processed. I have no get my words out. I have no idea how long that thing is going to take to upload, so I want to give myself a couple of days before Christmas Day and just have it scheduled. I always get like short of breath when I talk for these. So yeah, that's still going. I'm still filming for that, but I think I'll stop filming for that next week, so I've got enough time to, you know, get it up, get it edited, get it uploaded, get it scheduled for Christmas Day. And then I also wanted to talk to you about TV shows. I've been watching a show called Superstore on Netflix that originally I put on in the background for cross-stitching because I don't ever really watch TV. It's just something that I listen to. So I didn't think this TV show was going to be that good. It's actually turned out to be really, really good. I thought it was just going to be some rubbish rubbish comedy TV show that was going to be a bit meh. But the first season was quite slow, and then season 2 and 3 have actually been really, really funny. And I think I find it quite funny because my partner works in retail, so some of the characters remind me a lot of him, of what he would do if he wasn't going to get fired for it, if that makes sense, like how he would react to certain things. And I think it just makes me chuckle. I mean, I have worked in retail briefly before, very briefly, but not to the extent that my partner does. He's a deputy store manager of a shop, so it's it's a supermarket, so he has been doing it for years and years now. So I think if he sat down and watched it, he might find it funny as well, but I've never put it on while he's been here yet, so I think I might have to show him that. I've been trying to catch up on my flosstube. Trying to catch up on everybody's YouTube videos. I always miss people. Since I did this YouTube channel, I no longer use my old personal YouTube channel, so I'm trying to go back onto that older one to find the people that I used to watch so I can resubscribe with the new channel to make sure that they're on my watch list, because this profile now is signed into everything that I use, so I need to make sure that I do that. We started rewatching Lord of the Rings. We're on the 3rd film now, I think. We actually got through them quite quickly, bearing in mind we did fall asleep to both, so we didn't technically watch it all, but we've watched all the Harry Potters. like I do every year, and then we started on Lord of the Rings. So we've got one more to watch, I think, and then we've got The Hobbit. I'm not sure if we're actually watching The Hobbit. I think we are. I think we're going to. So that's all the TV shows, and I think that's all I've really got to say. I mean, I could talk about random stuff all night, but I don't think you'd really be interested. So I will leave you now, and I hope you've enjoyed this stitch with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.